I guess that sort of works well enough for now. How y'all doing? I know this is super late. There's not going to be anybody here. But I actually didn't intend to do this. I realized, of course, it was Wednesday night, which is when I normally do my live stream. And I guess I the last minute before bed, I thought, oh, I'm still wide awake. I'm going to do that. Hello, good evening, Big Bad Mama. No, believe it or not, that piece of music, although it sounds like a cross between Neverending Story and the opening of Flashdance. But it was, I put that together in Canva, and it was out of their selection of 80s music. And it just sounded familiar enough that I thought it would be enough to kind of throw in there and give a bit of that kind of 80s vibe. And so, but yeah, when I first heard it, I went, wow, that's just sounds like a little too familiar, but maybe just off enough that they can't get dinged for it. But I wanted to try a bit of a different, a little bit of a different opening because I'm not using the Talk Studio anymore because it was too much money. It cost too much money to use that damn thing, as convenient as it was, and I also wasn't too impressed with the output on it. I thought I'm still kind of not that impressed with this. I'm checking actually it now, and I can't get the full screen on this. I can't over here. Yeah, I wasn't. Oh wow, what the hell just happened? It all just froze up. Yikes. I wasn't, as you know, I complained a lot about the quality of it, and I didn't. The fact that it was, the fact that I was paying this monthly fee for this thing, and that it was killing part of the quality of it, you know, after putting money into this, I just wasn't impressed with it. So. Yeah, so I thought, and so far this is looking a little bit better, I think. Let's see what I can do here with this. I just want to actually check this on the full. Whoops, that's not going to work. I guess that's the nice thing with this is that I can kind of switch some things around here, and you don't really see what I'm doing. So yeah, so I dropped Talk Studio. If maybe I might go back to it one day if there was a way I could get better quality, because I don't need all the features. There's a whole bunch of features that I'll never use, and but in order just to get that 1080p, it was like $25 a month, and I just can't do that. And StreamYard that everybody uses is more expensive, and I've go figure. I don't know. So I'm just going to check this really quick, and it still doesn't look that great. It's so strange that this is like perfectly clear on this monitor, but when I open it in YouTube, it's gross. It's even at 60 frames. Who knew? I guess it looks all right. I suppose there's something that loses in the transition, and it might also be because of the dull lighting. It looks sharp on here when I have it go through my my Logitech camera, and it comes up on the I am using Streamlabs. When it comes up on that monitor, it looks nice and sharp, but then I go back to YouTube, and it just it kind of looks weird and fuzzy. So haven't been overly thrilled about it. But again, might be because of this dull lighting. It's losing something in that translation and that transition from in the broadcast. So, but as long as you can hear me, and I guess as long as you can see me, I'll figure it out eventually. One thing that's going to help, I'm using a Logitech camera. It's a 1080p webcam, but I picked up a little treat for myself. I posted a video. A little earlier this evening because I have purchased a camera. I got a Nikon, the Nikon Z30. Actually, it is. See, the lighting is awful in here. Eventually, I do hope to use this as one of the webcams. This will look a lot better than any kind of Logitech webcam. I got this for multiple reasons. It wasn't just this, because this is a vlogging camera. So it does really nice video, and it also takes really, really good pictures. And I have friends of mine that do photography, and I go out with them a lot, and they do a lot of night photography because of their scheduling. And when all you have is your phone, I don't have any camera except what's on my phone, and the iPhone does not take good night photos at all. It's awful. So I kept saying for years that I was going to invest in a better camera, but if I got a better camera, I wanted it to also do really good video. I wanted it for doing YouTube video, vlogging, and I also wanted to do some photography with it as well, and maybe do some night photography with a friend of mine, with friends of mine. So when they come down, they live in London, Ontario, and they'll come down a couple of times a month. And my friend, his name's Steve, really good photographer. He's got thousands of dollars worth of equipment, which is one of the reasons I went with this. So when I went online and I went looking for vlogging cameras, I went with this for a couple of reasons. I wrote down, as I started looking at cameras, I started writing out a list which one I wanted. And I started crossing them off the list as I went. This is too expensive. This one doesn't have what I need. This one leans more towards photography. This one isn't good quality. So it started at narrowing down to 2 cameras. And it was come down to a really close coin toss on which one I was going to get. And I did end up getting the Z30. The other one, if you're familiar with cameras and you're familiar with vlogging cameras, the one that keeps coming up is the Sony ZV-E10. And it's a really good camera. I was that close to getting it. That close. And there was a few things that actually made me go with the Nikon instead. Because this one's very, very similar. It's like 6 of one, half dozen of the other. This has a few things the Sony doesn't have. The Sony has a few things this one's lacking. Had to kind of balance it out and figure out which one was going to be better for me. And I decided on this one. But they're both really good cameras. Like the Sony's really good. Sony had a few of them. Sony has a ZV-1, which is I think what they came out with a few years ago, and I hear a lot of people have that one. And I think they come up with a 1F, which was more of I think like a budget version, but apparently it's terrible. So I scratched the 1F off. And then there was the ZV-E10, which was the better camera apparently, and that's the one a lot of people like to go with if they want to vlog. That one or this one, actually. This is the Nikon. But there's a couple of problems with it. Again, it has a few things this one's lacking. This has a few things it's lacking. Price price range. Okay. If you want to get them new, brand new, this is refurbished, by the way, so I got to do some testing with this. Brand new, so if you're in the US, a little bit better than it is in Canada. You're probably looking at around 800, give or take, in that range. If you go on Amazon, if you go online and shop around a bit, you can get, whether you're getting like a package deal with extra lenses, that kinds of things. But they're both right around that range. This was after taxes was 8 something actually, and it was refurbished, but it's in really, really excellent condition. And so that's dangers of having a credit card again. So I'm going to be spending the next little while kind of paying this off. Here's the thing, though. Okay, let me give you a couple of differences between them, and I'll tell you why. The Sony has really good set of lenses, and they're both, the quality in video and photos are both really, really good. The Sony has one issue, has a couple of issues that turned me off of it. One of them is it has something they call rolling shutter. So if you're shooting video with the Sony, this is the ZV-E10, and you move quickly, you're turning it quickly, the video kind of goes, you'll see everything kind of go wonky. And they've done tests with this on YouTube videos. Somebody was shooting like in his backyard and moving across his picket fence, and the whole picket fence is kind of like this as he went back and forth. This will do it a tiny bit, but nowhere near as bad or as obvious as a ZV-E10. So that was a huge thing that turned me off. The other thing that turned me off of it was the on-screen menu. Apparently Sony is using an old version of that has no touchscreen capability, and apparently you have to go through pages and pages and pages just to click one thing on, where apparently the Nikon Z30 is much more streamlined. Even though I've opened this up and it's taken me a little while to figure out, it's actually pretty good after just spending about 20-30 minutes on it. I think I've got most of it down. So that was the other thing, was it's got a much better on-screen menu. I think it is lacking that the both of them don't have an EVF in a viewfinder. Both of them lack that because they're meant to be vlogging cameras, so it's all done through the monitor on this, or through the flip out monitor. But this is nice. This will go any direction. You can flip it all the way around if you want to do like a selfie kind of thing, and so it's really flexible. I think the Sony's is the same actually. The one thing people like on the Sony is that it has a headphone jack. They both have microphone jacks, both of them, but Sony's has the headphone jack. So if you really want to kind of listen into the audio that's going into it, and you want to play around with it and pinpoint it a bit more, apparently that has that option. Mind you, people have been vlogging with like cell phones and never used headphones with them, so I wasn't concerned about that. I'm not going to be doing that much vlogging that I'm going to be worried about really being that fussy about the audio. This apparently has a really good microphone on the top. It has a dual microphone. I'm going to be doing a full video on this later, but I'm kind of excited about it, and I guess that's why I'm talking about it. But the other main reason that I also went with a Nikon, and this was one of the big ones, is the fact that my friend Steve comes down from London, and we both, or he really likes to do photography, and he has a Nikon, a really expensive Nikon. And I might need a little adapter piece for it, but I can share his lenses. Like if he brings like a whole bunch of lenses with him and I want to experiment a little bit, I'll be able to pop it on this. As I said, it might need a little adapter just because this is a Z line and his is different. They're fairly cheap. You can get those pretty cheap, and I'll be able to actually pop a lens on and use one of his lenses with it. I thought, well, that's nice because him plus another friend of ours, Matt, will go out and do some photos at night, and because we all have Nikons, I can borrow lenses from them and use them when we're out shooting. So that was one of the main reasons I ended up going with Nikon. But I'm really excited about this. I've watched like dozens and dozens of videos on this and comparing them with other cameras and with the Sony. And when I finally decided on this, I found a good deal through Best Buy. I was a little nervous because I went through Best Buy Marketplace. Didn't realize till after I had ordered it. The Best Buy Marketplace does not have the best reputation. Best Buy is not responsible for those items that come off their marketplace. They're basically renting the space on the website to third-party sellers. And so if something was really wrong with this, and I tried to go back to Best Buy, it wasn't from Best Buy. It was from a third-party seller, and somehow I'd have to try and go back and contact them. This is a 1-year warranty on it, so, fingers crossed, touch wood and everything. This is refurbished. So far, everything looks really good. It's been working really well. I had to figure out a little bit to do with the SD cards because I have an older 2 gig SD card, so I only get so many pictures on it. So I do need to buy more batteries for it. It only comes with one battery. They don't last all that long. So I definitely want to get 1 or 2 more batteries. You also recharge the battery inside the case. So I'd like to get an actual external third-party battery charger, and I can get one of those off of Amazon, actually fairly inexpensively. So there's a few little extra things I got to buy with it. But that being said, after all of that, once I get all that set up, I do also hope to live stream with it because I think I'll get a much nicer image off of it for doing live stream. The live stream has 2 options because there's webcam and then there's live stream. The webcam feature is if you're planning on using a Zoom call. You just plug it in and it's kind of choppy. It's 720 and it's a bit jerky. It's not something I want to actually do live streaming with. To do live streaming, you get a capture card so that they get a clean HDMI out, and then you'll get a nice full 1080p smooth video. that'll probably look a lot sharper than what's going on here. And I might have a nice bokeh effect that'll kind of blur the background a little bit. And so it'll make a nice kind of viewing experience. So anyway, so that's kind of what's going on. I know I haven't been back yet properly on YouTube just yet. I'm working on some ideas that I want to do for the my YouTube. That's going to take a little bit of time to sort out. It is coming. I need to kind of work out a few bugs and details because I'm writing it down and I need a little bit clearer direction of what I'm doing. I know kind of what I want. It's how to set it up and do it properly and stick to a schedule. Between work, calling me in, friends visiting, etc., it's hard to balance that kind of work-life schedule, and I've never been very good at it. So that's something I need to kind of lay out. So if I lay out a weekly schedule, I need to really stick to it. If this is going to be a shooting day, this is going to be an editing day, this is going to be a drawing day. Every day I should be doing a little bit of drawing, and I haven't done much lately. Right, so this will be like, this is what I'm going to upload, this is what I'm going to do live stream. Get all that all laid out. I think Wednesdays is going to stick for the live stream. It seems to work well. I think I just need, again, if I do, I'm going to start earlier. It's after 1:30 in the morning right now here. So I plan to start, I need to do that earlier. When Enrique comes on with me, he comes on later. He'll come on after 12:30. And that's fine too. So in those days when he wants in, I'll go a little later. I just kind of need to sort everything out and then get a proper plan and then stick to it, because I'm not getting any younger. I'm getting older. I'm watching some people on YouTube like, I've been doing YouTube for 10 years. Well, that's not going to happen with me. Probably in 10 years I'll be in my mid-60s. Who knows? Maybe I will be. I know stranger things have happened. There's people. You can do it at any age, really, as long as you can kind of manage everything. I don't think there should be any kind of age restrictions and things like that. People always talk about, you're too old for social media. And I'm just like, fuck off. Do what I bloody well want. Is there some sort of social media police restricting that? Do they have a retirement plan? I don't think they do. I think it's open for everybody. So, yeah. So that's kind of the scoop. I wish I could kind of add the monitor in, and I can't add the monitor in just yet because I'm kind of back to using these basic streaming software programs, and I'm using Streamlabs, which is kind of and I've been through Streamlabs before. It's kind of a copy of OBS. It's the same kind of layout as OBS, but OBS gives me some issues. So and that making a video, what's frustrating is that stupid heart. I can't read the whole thing. It really is. I wish I could put that on the screen. I don't think I can. Nope, I cannot. It's true, making videos is kind of an art form in itself, too. Is learning to shoot them properly, edit them properly, put in the music, figure out even just as when to upload them. It is really an art form all in itself, and I think more people should do it. I think more older people should do it. You see this platform that's like overrun with kids in like their 20s becoming millionaires somehow off of this thing, and they're gaining not very good reputations. And I can think of a couple offhand that have took off faster than I think they were ready for, and they ended up kind of ruining it for themselves. But yet they're still very popular on YouTube. They still make a lot of money. That one kid, ZHC, I think he started off with a better channel, and then when he became popular, now he has 12 million followers, and people don't like him. But yet he still has piles of followers, but he kind of, he became rich off of it. And these kids, they're not even 30 yet, right? And yet, you get some older people who have really, really good YouTube channels that provide a lot of quality information that hardly get any anybody watching them because they're not, not hip and they're not with it. Right? So, but it's up to it depends on what people want, right? And I think there's a big delay on this too. I think I'm not getting. I'm older than you. My YouTube channel is doing all right. I don't want it to be too big. Yeah, it's you start off with like a blank page and it's there for whatever you want to do. Right? Like that's your YouTube channel is yours. You can make it as big or small as you want to. And that's. Hey there, good evening, Frank. How you doing? It's a good thing I opened this up on my iPhone because the chat on through this is frozen on through the actual program here through Streamlabs. It's completely frozen. It got stuck a few minutes ago, so I can open it up on. I've got it going on my iPhone down here. A blank check, yeah. Oh, there we go. Now it's all caught up. Jeez, what a mess. Yeah, with a blank mind part, I've got that covered. Jeez. That's why it's so hard for me to shoot videos. It takes me hours, sometimes hours and hours to shoot videos because sometimes I just, I'll start talking and I'll forget where I'm at. I'll fumble on my words. I'll forget where I'm at. And I kind of know what I have to say. People would say, put up a script. And if I put up a script, I'll be like reading the script. And I don't want to look like I'm doing that. I can put something up point form, but then I'm kind of constantly looking back and forth. And I think it comes across better if I can just kind of wing it. I don't want to be kind of reading a script. I'm not a performer that way, but. Did you see the film Point Blank from the 60s with Lee Marvin? I have seen that. It's been years. Oh my God, I remember seeing that with my dad. That has to be at least 20, 25 years or more since I saw that. Because my dad liked Lee Marvin. I have seen that. I don't even remember anything about it, but I do remember that. Just editing a video for Roll for Taraco. Recorded the video earlier and I was doing the voiceover. Yeah, I got to do a little bit of that. I put up a short video earlier today. It was one I shot vertically because, it was a vertical video I shot because I was going to try and keep it under a minute and put it as a short, but I couldn't. I gave up on that and just left it at 2 minutes. And so it goes into my regular video stream. But yeah, Lee Marvin was awesome. If I'm not mistaken, I sometimes get him mixed up with. There's another actor I get him mixed up with. I can't think of his name. Lee Marvin. I know. Was he the one that was actually trained by Bruce Lee? He was one of the students under Bruce Lee and actually learned some martial arts. He had to learn some for his films, and he was trained by Bruce Lee. I might be confusing with somebody else. I'm not sure. But Lee Marvin was in a couple of good westerns, and I'm not a big western person, but I remember he was in a couple of really good ones. He was also in James Coburn. Okay, all right. But I still like Lee Marvin though. Both of them I actually really enjoyed a lot. Let me get a list of his movies because I know we watched him in a lot of stuff. Oh, he was in Dirty Dozen, Cat Ballou. Yeah, we used to watch some of those. My mom liked westerns. He was in Delta Force. That's right, he was in that. Jeez. No, not Lee Majors. Lee Majors, I know for sure because when I was a kid, I lived for $6 Million Man, so I knew who Lee Majors is. I used to love that show. I was like part of the fan club. I used to get mail, and I had like photos that were autographed by It was autographed by Lee Majors. I wish I had kept some of those. God. 8 Iron Men he did, yeah. Dirty Dozen, that was a good film. Can you guys hear that horn honking in the background? I can like to hear that thing and it's just going and going and going. It's driving me nuts. But Marvin was in some film noirs in the 50s like Shack on a 101. Okay, all right. Yeah, I was just going to see if I could bring up a full list. There was a highlight there, but was he in Gorilla at Large? I don't remember him in that. You can hear it. Sorry if that's really coming through loud. I apologize. Watching 6. Yeah, so was I. There's a whole bunch of clips going up now on like both Facebook and YouTube. So I've been catching bits and pieces of it. I remember I saw Gorilla at Large in the 80s because had this rise of 3D movies on TV, and I remember I was all excited about this idea of it. And I went to Max Milk and got the big 3D glasses that you could get there, and then there was a special one night, and they had 3 movies that they aired. They had Gorilla at Large, a movie called Inferno, that was actually done in the late 50s, early 60s about a guy who got lost in the desert. What was the? Oh, Revenge of the Creature, which was a sequel to Creature from the Black Lagoon, and they had those 3 on a 3D special that I watched, and I was so excited about this idea, and for some reason I really loved it, even though it came across terrible on television. But I loved the idea of having these glasses and things would come out at the screen. I just thought that was the greatest thing ever. So, but I remember Gorilla at Large was one of the movies. I didn't know he was in that. That's funny. 1954. And Delta Force in 86, yeah. Is Dirty Dozen the next mission made for television? Oh, he died in 87. I thought it was later than that. Huh? James Coburn and Bruce Lee co-wrote a script. Oh, okay. The film was Circle of Iron in 78, where David Carradine plays several roles. Okay. That sounds familiar. There's a place where you can see full episodes of $6 Million Man. You'll need a pop-up blocker. I do have one, actually, and an eye patch and a parrot. Yes. No, that's... were you born in 78? Wow, so I have almost exactly 10 years on you. Oh, I feel so old. God. Do you know what I've been watching lately? Is I've been on this kick watching old episodes of Columbo, and I started watching. I got hooked on another series because I started watching Columbo, and this episode was Andre the Giant as Bigfoot. Yes, I remember that was like a big 2-part episode. Actually, I remember I was like really into that. I started watching episodes of Columbo, and I had heard somewhere through the grapevine they were talking about doing a remake of it. And have you? Yeah, I think I probably have too. I just don't remember them all. I know I've seen probably every episode because my mom watched them. And because they were on, they would alternate each week. They were like in an hour and a half time slots because the episodes unedited are an hour long, and it went. It would alternate with Macmillan and Wife. I'm drawing a blank on the other one. My mom didn't like it. She only liked Columbo and Macmillan and Wife. She didn't like the other one. McLeod. McLeod, she didn't like, so we never ended up watching it. She didn't like, what's his name that was in that. And I think there was a fourth one. And I can't remember what it was, but Columbo we always tuned in for. McLeod, Macmillan and Wife. Yeah. Macmillan and Wife, which would later be the inspiration for Heart to Heart, apparently. But we watch those every week. So I went looking up, because I heard through grapevine they were talking about like doing revisiting Columbo and doing like a new modern version of it and recasting it, of course, because Peter Falk is gone. And I thought, oh, no one can do that but Peter Falk. Like what? And then I started seeing people posting about a show called Poker Face. I felt the same way, Frank. I wouldn't feel too good about that either, because he really was just the voice and everything. It was like he made that role. But I started looking up this series called Poker Face on Peacock. Apparently it's on. So apparently this show is... yes, I discovered that the first episode was directed by Steven Spielberg. It was actually a good episode too. You could tell it was like shot like cinematically. I even started wondering myself, this was kind of his little like Spielbergish kind of going on. At the end, it popped up directed by Steven Spielberg. So, but anyways, to go back to Poker Face, I had heard, I started kind of looking into this a little bit, and it intrigued me because it was the whole series is written and directed by, what's his name? Who did Knives Out? Rian Johnson. And I like the Knives Out movies, actually. I know some people don't, but I actually kind of appreciate them. And I think he is a good director when he has the right material, especially when it's his own and he's not adapting something else. But I was intrigued and I went to watch it and I got hooked. I ended up like almost kind of binged all 10 episodes. It's really good. I can definitely see, first of all, you can tell it's Rian Johnson. You can see the Knives Out influence. You can also see he was really influenced by Columbo, like right down to the opening credits are like the opening title sequence look like something out of the 70s. And she is, she's not a detective, and I can't give away too much. So if you decide to watch it, I don't want to say too much. She is kind of on the run. Each week is a different mystery she kind of solves when she stumbles into some people's lives and figures out what's going on. And but she's smart, and she can also tell when people's lying. She can look at them and tell that if they're lying or not, and which is kind of her it's kind of her gift and her curse kind of thing. So I ended up, and she has like a raspy New York accent, and she's almost like a female Peter Falk in a way, but she's really, really good in the role, and it's really smart what he does. There was one little thing that threw me off in the first episode, and I don't want to spoil, I do this without kind of spoiling any details, but it was just the way Rian Johnson directs them. So if you ever do watch one, it starts the same way as Columbo. You see the crime happen, and then she ends up solving it. But what happens is after the crime happens, you think it's going to the next day or later on, right? It fades to black and then comes in, but you find out actually it goes back. It jumps back the day before. And then you see where she was when all this was happening and how she fits into it, and then it continues on with the rest of the story. And it threw me off in the first episode, but as you watch, he does that every week. So it's his style, I guess. It throws you off the first time, but once you know what happens, you kind of catch on to it later. But I got hooked on that right away. So I was like, I watched all 10 episodes. There's other things I need to be doing and watching, but for some reason I got caught up into that. So I've been talking about those stuff and anything but art, and I should be getting back into doing art. And I want to make these proper art streams again. That should be, I should be starting to do some art-related stuff, hopefully by next week or by later this week. I need to finish up a few projects, and hopefully maybe next week I can get on some art projects that I can start making into videos. But Make Lady Gaga mad. Poker face. Oh. So yeah, so that's kind of it. I guess I just sort of came on to kind of because I was excited about the fact that I got a new camera, and I'll be doing a little more updates on that. Probably, I don't know, we'll see maybe next week if I can shoot something about it. Wish I'd gotten that a couple of weeks before I went to Montreal. I went to Montreal for a couple of days to visit an old friend of mine. And yeah, I can't think of anything else off the top of my head now. That's kind of it that's going on with my life. Does anybody have any questions? I'll be a quiz next week. No. We got some nice weather right now the last few days, and I wanted to get outside a little bit. I did a little bit, I guess. I didn't get out very much, but it's going to end up cooling down for the weekend and warming up. So for us, this is really unusual this time of year, because normally this is when it starts getting cold, but weather is not doing what it normally does anymore, and so it's kind of been all over the place the last couple of years, but we're like today and tomorrow we're still going to have really nice weather. Then it's going to drop, then it's going to go back up again. So I'm going to play it all by ear. We'll see how the winter goes. It feels like our winter's time was become. Our winters feel shorter, but they're more intense. Right around January, February, we get like a lot of snow. I think it's bloody cold. I can't, I know I'm Canadian, and I know I go through winter every year. I just feel like I can't handle it as well anymore. Maybe because I'm getting older. I feel like, especially in the last couple of years since I passed the 50 mark, I feel like it's getting harder and harder on my knees to handle the cold, and I have arthritis in my knees now, so the damp and the cold really hurt, especially to climb stairs. It's doing a number on my knees, and I'm not handling as well anymore. But did you ever see Kolchak Night Stalker? Yes, I did. I remember the remake in 2005 called Night Stalker. I never saw the remake. They made it more supernatural. Yes, yeah. Oh, the original was supernatural, wasn't it? Because I used to watch it with my mom, but I don't remember too much about it anymore, unfortunately. But I know she watched it. I would have known if it was a remake if it hadn't been watching. Oh, okay. Yeah, I never saw the 2005 version, but I know I remember watching. I know my mom used to watch it. She was into that kind of thing. My mother was definitely not the soap opera type mom. She did not like soap operas, any kind of mushy romance thing. She was like, nope. But her and I would sit up late at night and watch like horror movies and Vincent Price movies. The only mom thing that maybe she kind of watched was game shows, but that was about it. But otherwise, she did not like romance movies and sappy movies. And no, she took me to see Raiders of the Lost Ark. She took me to see all these she took me to see Clash of the Titans in the early 80s and that kind of thing. She was really into these big adventure movies, and they took me to see Star Wars and all of that. So yeah, so it was my mom was fun that way, and I miss that. I'm taking a trip back east in early November, and that will wrap up my 50-state challenge. Oh, nice. Okay. Wow. Where out east are you going? I did a trip in 2018 to see the Maritimes, because it was the only part of Canada I had not set foot in, other than the Northwest Territories, which I kind of don't have any desire to. It's just ice up there. I don't care about the rest of the provinces. I've set foot in all the provinces now. But Kolchak was great, especially the first two movies with a vampire. Yeah, I vaguely remember that. I vaguely remember actually seeing that with my mom. The remake Kolchak like Bruce Banner. The remake made Kolchak like Bruce Banner, where he was being accused of murder, so he was trying to find a connection. Oh, okay. Pennsylvania to Virginia. All right. I took back in 1992. I took a trip down to Florida with some friends of mine. We did a road trip, um, and I remember we went through Virginia, and one of the most impressive things I ever saw was the Natural Bridge. And I have a whole bunch of pictures of it somewhere. It was fantastic. You could put a 20-story building underneath it, and the road goes over top. And on the far side, I don't know if it's still there, probably is, they had it protected, was George Washington's initials. He had carved his initials onto the rock on the other side. And that is like protected in there now. So, but that was one of the most fantastic things I'd ever seen, and I would go back and see that again. And we actually stayed. It was a Mennonite farm we stayed on. It wasn't Amish, but yeah, if you do, I recommend it. I forget, I don't remember where it was, but you can look it up online. If you look up the Natural Bridge in Virginia, that was pretty fantastic to see that. I just want to close this. George Washington graffiti is protected. Yep. Back then he had to use a chisel. So they did tours as well. They had like no, Frank, but I'm planning to visit the cemetery from the opening scene of Night of the Living Dead. Oh wow, yeah, that would be something else. They must get a lot of people that go through there. I would think they would have to almost, especially around Halloween. Can you imagine how many people probably go out there around Halloween? They probably have to like fence it off and just like, no, you're not coming in here. Enough of this. My friend's been to, she lives not far from it. She's been to the mall from the sequel. Oh God, what was it called? Dawn of the Dead, I think it was. The one with the mall. She's been to the famous mall from the original one. That hooligan George Washington chopping down cherry trees, carving on bridges. I know. Yeah, the second one was the sequel to it was filmed in a shopping mall. It's kind of famous. Apparently, there's pictures on the wall. Some of it's gone. Like part of it was torn down apparently, and part of it's changed. But I guess they've got some areas of the mall. They've got plaques up with pictures. Apparently, I don't know if it's still there, but. I have a friend of mine. He lives in Las Vegas, and I've always said one day I might go back. Las Vegas is kind of this, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a bit of a sensory overload. But I'd go back just for fun. I'd see. But there's so many other places I really kind of need to see that's on my bucket list. Dawn of the Dead is in the mall, yeah, and there was Return of the Dead, Living Dead. We stated Night of the Living Dead was a true story. Oh, okay. I was just in George and Martha's Washington bedroom a couple of months ago. Woohoo! One of his headquarters in New York. Oh, okay. I want to. I've been to British Columbia many years ago, and I want to go back to British Columbia again. I should see it. I saw the Okanagan Valley. but I've never been all the way right to the Pacific coast. I've never been to Vancouver Island, and that's a spot I should try and get out to eventually. We're talking about doing the East Coast again, because when we went out to the East Coast, we missed a lot of the. There's a lot of things to see in Nova Scotia and PEI, and we were there in 2018. We were only there for about 3 days. We ended up missing. We didn't end up seeing everything that we wanted to, but it was beautiful. I could live out there. I absolutely love the East Coast. Something with the air, when you take the little ferry boats across to get to work and back, which just I don't know. I love the East Coast. Cape Breton, that would be beautiful. I didn't end up seeing Cape Breton. Or just New Martha's Drawers. Utah National Parks are incredible, I can imagine. So some friends and I are talking about going back to the East Coast again. We drove last time, so we took this long road trip through New Brunswick all the way up into PEI. PEI is also gorgeous. I love PEI. A little tiny island that's just fantastic. We went across the famous bridge, the 8 Mile Bridge, and then took a ferry back to Nova Scotia, and then we saw the site of the Halifax explosion, and we saw the museum. It also has stuff from the Titanic in it. That was really something else. I'd go back there again. I want to see that again. That museum was fantastic. I thought Newfoundland was beautiful. I have to go to Newfoundland. That's the only... Actually, I apologize. That's the one I actually haven't yet. I thought my folks had been there. I was sure. My folks are gone now, and I can't ask. But I remember my mom talking about it. Then when I checked with my dad, he said no. And I'm like, Mom said that you guys went there and you knew some people. You knew some people in there that this lovely woman that apparently made soup for you or something. I don't know. There was... It's a weird story behind it, but so I thought when I would have been too young to remember it. Apparently, I thought it was right after I was born, but they said, I don't know, my dad said no, but one day I'll have to get up there. Oh, excuse me. I have to get to PEI. I recommend it, yeah, if you get a chance to get to PEI. It's not big. It's a little tiny island. If you get to Charlottetown, it's 7-hour ferry ride, from Sydney, yeah. So that's yeah, we'll be doing that. I'm also trying to save up because I want to go to the UK. I just bought this damn camera. I'll have to pay that off first, but I need to get to the UK in the next couple of years. I'd like to be able to do it before the end of next year if I could, depending on how my money situation is. I really need to get over to the UK. I'm way overdue on that. Like every time I kind of set aside money and have plans to do that, something happens. I was that close to going to see a friend of mine in Scotland. So close. And it's just... It didn't happen, and I was angry ever since, and I have to get my passport updated. And yeah, it crushes me the fact that after all these years I have not been able to get over there. And I have family and friends over in the UK. Like I have places I could stay. But it is expensive to eat and to travel. Well, travel's not too bad, apparently. Traveling's relatively inexpensive. But we take the train around the island. But I'm getting older, though. It's going to be hard to see these. Anne of Green Gables. Yes, we were at the location, but we were at the spot that took place. Maybe he brides one day. Yeah, that would. I'd love to go to Europe. Oh, so many people over there. So many friends and family that I've got connection. My folks were born here, but my grandparents came over from the UK. All of them came over from the UK. A couple of them from Scotland or England. And Grandpa Chandler was born right near London. My mom, my Grandpa Livingston was born in Scotland. And he still had a slight bit of his Scottish accent, a little bit. He could go in and out of it if he could. To England several times. Oh, I'm so jealous. I should have been there by now. When you have the money, my schedule would never allow it. Then when my schedule would open up, whether maybe I wasn't working as much at the time or whatever, and then I wouldn't have the money for it, or something would happen. Something always happened every time I came so close to being in Scotland. I was supposed to go and visit a friend of mine who lived in Cumbernauld, which is just slightly east of Glasgow. And then I was going to visit him, and then he was going to take me down to Manchester and Leeds and around that area, and then go back up to Glasgow. And I'm really angry that never happened. That was back 2007, 2008. I think around 2008 I was supposed to go. I should try doing some streams. I may end up trying to do some streams during the day rather than being up so late. Let's see if I can try and start doing that pretty soon. Maybe the next couple of weeks I might. I know when Enrique wants to come in, he can only do it really late. Like he gets in like 9:30 his time, 12:30 mine. And it goes late. You're turning in, Big Bad Mama. Okay, it was good to see you. You have a good night. I think I'm gonna call it here as well. I just kind of wanted to get in and say hello and kind of touch base a little bit because it is Wednesday night and I normally do my stream. But I'll be in touch. I gotta work the next couple of nights, and I'm doing an extra shift on Monday. It's our Thanksgiving on Monday, and I'm doing an extra few hours on that day just to make a little extra money. So it's time and a half. Anyways, I think I shall call it. Big Bad Mama and Frank, thanks very much, and we'll definitely we'll do this again soon. Adam, yeah, I have to try and get a hold of him. I want to check in on him too, see how he's doing. All right, everyone, have a good night, and we'll talk to you again soon.